through the stuff that we know. And like I said, no experts, but we are doing it and we're getting some good results, and our followers are growing and our engagement is going up.
So this slide relates to finding out who you're posting to, because if you're not really clear on that, you can kind of end up not really talking to anybody. So you've just got to find out like in the business world, they call it the ideal client avatar. So if I think about my business, you know, I mainly work with females who own service-based businesses. So, you know, I don't mind sharing stuff about being a mum and stuff like that. So in terms of like I don't actually have a property account yet, but I would want to think about why I was sharing and who I would want to see, that kind of thing, so that if it was something that I wanted to grow, then I would know who I'm trying to grow it for, and who I am posting to, because the algorithm, once you start interacting with people who are your like ideal follower, that kind of thing, it will keep putting those people in front of you. But if you're just, you know, talking to your uncle, to like your Uncle Jeffrey on Instagram, then it will think that you want middle-aged men to follow you. So yeah, so that's what that is about.
Okay, so so know your ideal follower is number one, and then you need to look at topics. So what are you talking about? Audience, who you're talking to, location, where you're talking to, what your values and attitudes are, and then price over quality, which is your how. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Oh my God. In the what to post section. So I know that this is quite a big challenge for some of you, especially some maybe that don't have your property account set up yet, is, you know, what do you actually post about? And if I'm honest, I've had the same challenges myself, because this is all the property industry, the property sector is completely new for me, despite the fact that my partner has 2 buy-to-let properties and we're just about to start looking for our first HMO. I haven't been through this process other than purchasing my own property. So I've kind of set up our Instagram account and really questioned, what am I actually going to post about? I can post about what we're doing, which is great. You know, it's nice to be engaged and share, you know, take people on your adventure and get support and advice for people. But I've started to think more about, what do I know? So I've run an agency for near on 18 years now. So I know a lot about leadership. I know a lot about marketing. I know about running a team. I know about websites, you know, and I've started to think about what knowledge I already have and how I can repurpose that and help people. So start to think about maybe what you know already, even if you don't think it's related to the property world. And then I like to think about things that I care about. Some of you might know our backstory. Lee and I have had really big challenges with infertility, IVF, stillbirth, and huge challenges around starting a family. It's a really taboo topic still, and it makes me feel uncomfortable. It is taboo. So I've been really keen to share elements of the things that we've been through, because it helps others. And so that's really important to me. And I'll bring those things into maybe environments that people don't expect. You know, I'll talk about our situation on LinkedIn, for example, which people would traditionally think is a very kind of business focused platform. But for me, it's important that those barriers are kind of broken down a little bit. So I don't know, if there's things that you care about, you can talk about them. It doesn't have to be property related. And then you have to think about what you're happy to share. You know, clearly I'm an oversharer and I'm quite comfortable to talk about difficult subjects. You might not be. So, you know, you have to make sure that you're comfortable with the information that you're going to put out there, and you're comfortable answering questions about it. I'll give you a really good example. Even our company name, Ava Lily Property, Lee and I had a discussion about, are we actually okay to call it after our twin girls' names? Because people are going to ask. And lo and behold, the first conversations that Lee had with estate agents were, this is a nice company name. Are they your kids? Are they called Ava and Lily? And so Lee had to say, well, yeah, they are, but they're not around anymore. So the company's in memoriam. And so you have got to be prepared to, the information that you put out, you've got to be prepared to be comfortable to talk about. And then I think about how I can add value. So again, I don't know a lot about property, I'm learning, but I do know a lot about procedures and applications that we use, systems that we use in the office, and how they might be transferable. So I can talk about, project management systems or CRM systems. I can talk about how I network. I can talk about public speaking. So all those things that I already know and that I can add value and hopefully share with people are things that I start to talk about. And then I talk a lot about brand values, but brand pillars. So a good friend of mine is he helps people develop their personal brands, and he talks really succinctly about having brand pillars. So things that you stand for, things that you care about, that you talk about all the time. So these are kind of my brand pillars. I want to talk about real life stuff. So, our Ava Lily story. I'm really big on sharing. So I'm taking people on the adventure that we're on. Education is really important to me. I'm going to ask people stuff, but also expertise. I'm going to share what we know too. And then gratitude is hugely important to me. So then you can start to think about showcasing people that inspire you. At work, my company develops websites for tourist attractions and visitor attractions. So we talk a lot about customer experience. And again, that's something that we're bringing into our organisation. So we can talk about things from that and the fact that we're design-led. And as Jenni very succinctly put it, you use all of those brand pillars to build trust. But it really is all about being authentic and being the real you. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to, and why, and when you're thinking about what to post. And then I just wanted to show a really a good example of what I think is I think this is a great feed, but I think what I really love about Mary and Andrew from the Elite Investor Group is that they use their platform for good. And I think that's really important. I think if you have got a platform, Andrew and Mary have got, nearly 4,000 followers now. They make a real, environmentally friendly topics are obviously one of their brand pillars. They talk about those quite a lot. They've been really vocal about the Black Lives Matters challenges, which I think is absolutely something that you should be talking about. If something is passionate and you care about it deeply, regardless of what sector that you work in, you should be using your platform to discuss those topics. And so this is why I showcased their feed, because they do that. I think they do that really brilliantly. And then step 3 is planning ahead. Jenni, do you want to slide in and chat about planning ahead?
Yeah, so what a lot of people do is they will batch their content. So you can plan it like a week in advance, a month in advance, it's up to you. But it just means that if you're not doing it every single day, it takes less time. So it totally depends on how you want to do it. There's the scheduling tools that will, you can upload all the posts, and then you'll get a notification of when it's ready to post, and you can just basically just click go. And that's with all the captions, everything like that. And it just enables you, if you know that there's a time when you're particularly in flow. So for me, generally it's from about 8 till 10 at night when I work quite well. So I know that that's a time where I'm quite productive and can just plan out a a lot of content per a week or whatever. I haven't quite got to the month yet, but I'm hoping to do that for August, so I don't have to do anything. And then it can just sort of give you, I mean, you can note down ideas as you go, because you might be out on a walk or something and think, oh, that's a really good idea. And then equally, if you're renovating a property, you'll have lots of pictures to post, that kind of thing. But it's just about doing what works for you, so it's not a chore, because it can be quite a chore if you if you're not planned out. It can be a bit stressful if you're trying to grow, that is. If you're not too bothered about it and you're just posting every now and then that's fine.
Yeah, I think all of us are probably suffering from the same challenges, is that we're all really busy and we know that we need to do these things, but it's hard to dedicate time to it. I know many of you will have full-time jobs as well as juggling the property stuff. So what I've been doing is trying to plan a week in advance, and just trying to spend. I literally set up a spreadsheet. I'll show you it in a minute. It's the saddest spreadsheet you've ever seen. But it really helps me just to go, okay, well, I've got an hour at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning. So I'm going to just check in on my spreadsheet. I've popped in some ideas around what topics I'm going to talk about. And then I will just write 3 posts, so that I'll have like a Monday, a Wednesday and a Friday post. And it can take an hour. And so it's all about using these strategies to get things done in a shortest amount of time that we've got to spare on it. And then if you can create stuff in advance, you can schedule things as well. I haven't actually started to do that yet, because I haven't needed to, basically. But there are tools like Later, there's Buffer. There's Plannerly as well that you can use. There's loads of different tools out there that you can schedule with if you really have got like very, very limited amount of time. This is my sad spreadsheet. I mean, it is a Google Doc. And so what I've tried to do is think about what I've tried to do. I put the days of the week, and I was really over it. I thought I'd be able to post every day, and I just can't. I don't have time to write 5 posts. I can't think of enough things to write in a week that's going to be of value to anyone at the moment. I'm sure that will change when we start to go out on viewings and we've just got a bit more going on in the property world. But at the moment, I'm concentrating on doing 3 posts a week, because I think that's plenty. And then I've chosen topics. So in my topic column, just here, I've tried to think about things that I would want to share or want to know about. So things that are educational, top tips, maybe a property or an interiors focus, maybe a recommendation for something or someone, maybe some personal stuff. So we've tried to share things like, I did a spotlight on Lee a little while ago, just to showcase, some of the things that he does. He's a wedding photographer. He's done public speaking, he used to be a designer as well, so he's highly creative. So just almost trying to showcase the skill set that we've got, that would be useful in what we're about to do. And then just by doing this, I then think about like the titles of the posts and what the thing that I want to talk about. And then I also think about what image needs to go with that, and whether I've got something that can be used, or whether, I'm lucky, I can send Lee out and take photos, or I need to create something in Canva. And this spreadsheet just saves me loads of time. So I can literally look at it on a Sunday morning and go, okay, well, I pretty much know what my 3 posts are going to be this week, and I'll just write them. And then I'll find the images, or I'll create an image that I need to go with it. And we'll talk a little bit about that later, about how you can do that, and some places where you can find really good free images as well. So yeah, but the other way of doing it is Jenni's way. She's got a brilliant Trello board. Whoa. It looks way snazzier than my spreadsheet.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a visual person, but so this, if you want a copy of this, I'm happy to send it. That second column has got loads of ideas for different content posts, like literally loads. So just send me an email and I'll send you the link to it. But it totally depends on how you want to work. Like, you know, it might not work for you, but if it does, brilliant.
It's really good, Jenny. I think that's awesome. That would be such a big help for everybody as well. I might steal it myself and upgrade my spreadsheet.
Yeah, good.
And then I don't know, I've put this in here because I don't know if any of you have gone and looked at the Property Sisters YouTube channel. There's some incredible content on there. A couple of weeks ago, Sam Rathlin did a session on LinkedIn, and it was really, really valuable. I took a lot from it. I use LinkedIn day in, day out, and I took so much from it that I wasn't really aware of. But she gave in there, she gave a list of topic ideas that you can use for posts on LinkedIn. And I was like, well, this is brilliant. This is exactly the same for LinkedIn. And so there's a huge raft of topics there that you can think about. And it's, like I said, anything from kind of educational, inspirational, something that's motivational, you know, share your biggest win that's been this week. You know, that might be, I got my hair cut and coloured, you know, it's a win right now. And I think things like that are really important. So her book is also excellent. If you think about grabbing a copy, I'd highly recommend it. And some of the learnings from the book will be really relevant to content and topics and stuff for Instagram as well. And then there's a big question about how you want your feed to actually look. So this is mine. We're lucky in the sense that Lee is a photographer. So initially when we put our feed up, Lee just took loads of pictures of stuff around our house, which was a bit kind of random, but it gave us something to put up there. And it kind of, I think for us, it was about sharing our style. So you kind of got a feel for who we were and what we liked. But we're kind of keeping it quite balanced at the moment. I mean, obviously we don't have anything to share in terms of properties, but we're trying to keep that balance between, you know, showing our faces and people getting to know us a little bit, and then sharing things that are a bit of educational, you know, a couple of gratitude posts on there. We've posted up, you know, about some of our favorite podcasts. We've started to post about some of our favorite interior designers. And then I've just tried to share things that would help other people. You know, I did a post about public speaking. So there's a picture of me doing some public speaking. So ours is not, it's not a beautiful feed by any means, but I think it's quite real. And for us, it's really important to get across kind of the people behind the brand as well as the brand. So I know that one of the questions was about how you get your brand into your feed, and there's some really simple ways of doing that. We can talk about that a little bit later, but I'm hoping that that's what we're achieving by bringing in our brand colours and elements of it as we populate the feed. But there is also the flip side. So our mentors, Made Green, are fabulous, but their idea of a beautiful feed is they share like their incredible interiors, and they are so design led. They're so lovely, but obviously they have got a lot of that content because they've been doing this for a number of years now, but they keep their feed very beautiful. There's a few personal posts, but not that many. It is mainly beautiful interiors. And the reason that they do that is they say that is what their investors want to see. So they are using their feed to attract investors. Now, that would be great. We're not at that stage yet, and we've got nothing to show investors that they'd be super interested in right now, other than sharing our expertise. So we can't do that. B-Space, very similar to May Green, but actually she brings her brand in, and I know she talks really openly about, you know, and really passionately about bringing your brand into your developments as well and into your interior design. But she does it really beautifully, where she brings her brand into her feed too. And I just love the way that she lays out her content. And I think that our feed, I would aspire our feed to probably be a bit more like B-Spaces, so that it's just, it's a bit more kind of brand led as well. And then completely on the flip side is Mike and Victoria, Inside Property Investing. And their feed is really fun and really engaging. Now they put anything and everything up on their feed, and I really love it. I love this picture down here of Victoria, but it's really real, and you really get to know the people behind the brand. You know, they have beautiful interiors, they showcase them, but they also show, you know, what they're up to, and I kind of like that feel as well. So there's no right or wrong. It's what you want to do, what you want to share, and just think about the audience that you're maybe trying to attract. I'd say Inside Property are trying to attract investors through their feed, and also people to go on their courses, but they are quite happy to share more about them as well, and I think that's a good thing. And then we are on to creating visuals. So like I said, Lee's a photographer. If there's something that I need a photo of and it's relatively near our house, like our front door this morning, you know, I can send him out with his camera and he can snap away. We don't all have that luxury, and he isn't always available. But I use at work, and I have been using for property as well, a few websites that are free stock photography, and they're actually really, really good quality. So in the past, stock photography's got a little bit of a bad name for being really like classic business focused, you know, two men shaking hands, because that's what a meeting should be like. And that's kind of all out of the window now. So a lot of the images that I use are actually from Unsplash. You can search for the topic, you can search for an area. So when I was posting about Nottingham a few weeks ago, I really needed a picture. They had some quite quirky, unusual photos of Nottingham. They ask you to credit. So I always credit the photographer, and you can just put that as their name and a link to Unsplash in your posts. And then there's Pixabay and there's Pexels as well, which are just another couple of royalty-free stock sites that you can use. Some are completely free, there may be small charges for them, but they're really good places to look. Unsplash is definitely a really great place to look. The only downside, and I'll point this out, is if you're using some of the images that are used quite frequently, you might see them popping up on other people's feeds. So try and be maybe a bit left field about some of the things that you're searching for, and you'll get something a bit more unique. And then good old Canva. If you haven't downloaded a free version of Canva yet, do it tomorrow, do it tonight. It's really easy to use. I'm a trained designer, but I haven't opened, well, actually I did open up InDesign last week and it was really painful, but I haven't opened up Photoshop or Illustrator for years, and I wouldn't even know where to start. Canva is so simple to use, and I know lots of you are using it already. But what you can do is you can set up templates. So you can set up templates that have got your brand colors, have got your logo in. You can set up Instagram story templates, templates that have got quotes on, and you can upload images to it. You can share this with people. So Lee and I have got an Ava Lily team. So if he's going to post stuff, not that he does very often, but he can go in and create things as well. And it is so super simple to use. I'm no expert on it, but if anyone wants a hand, give me a shout. Chalana, I think you use it as well, don't you? I think you're a bit of a whiz on that. But that is the simplest way of creating things, and it's one of the simplest way of creating things to incorporate your brand colors and your brand imagery in as well. And then IGTV, Chalana, using your feed. So IGTV is brilliant. I don't know why. I've just had a massive block about doing it. And to be honest, I do stuff like this all day long for my job. I do public speaking. I host a podcast. Clearly I can chat, but I just had this real barrier about the camera in my face. Chalana does it incredibly. And I've put this up here because if you are thinking about creating content and you don't know where to start, you are your content. Like, you just talking is content. You do it brilliantly. I love this video of your son. I just think that for me it's a perfect piece of getting across, you know, your values, your personality, and sharing kind of the real you, like the people behind the brand. I thought it was absolutely excellent. So you should all go and check out M7 Properties Instagram, IGTV, and get some inspiration from it, because I'm going to. Okay. Oh, I'm just going to check. There was extra people want to come in. Don't worry, we've recorded it. Jenny, I'm going to hand over to you for when to post and how often.
Okay, so when to post and how often, it kind of depends what you're trying to do. Like if you're really trying to grow your account, I have heard of someone that posted 3 or 4 times a day for a period of like 6 weeks or something, and they were able to grow their account by 150%. But to be honest, that just I wouldn't even want to attempt to do that. Yeah, exactly. So it does just depend what you want to do. But what you can look at on the if you've got a business account, and I think a creator account, Chelena, you might know more than me. I don't have a creator account, but I'm pretty sure that they get like more insights, which is kind of like the analytics of it all. So you can go to through like the actual post for the insights and see, you know, how many likes, how many comments, where the people came from, whether they came from hashtags or whether they were already following you anyway, that kind of thing. But also you can go into your actual profile and then click insights, and it will give you an overview of like all your posts. So it will show you the day, like each day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It will show you the time that people are most on. So if you're posting at 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and most people are online at 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday night, then you've got that kind of 12-hour period where your post is just going to get lost, because it will just go down the feed and people will miss it because they've got so many other things coming up. So try and post when you get the most engagement. They do say that once a day is ideal, but I think what's again ideal for what, you know, if you just want a presence, just so you've got something there to look at, then, and you're not too bothered about growing it, then, you know, you don't need to do once a day. From everything I know, it's more about the consistency that you want to try and attain. So that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's what I do with mine, and I've still been able to grow it. And yeah, so it's just more about the consistency. And in terms of growing it, if you want to grow it, you can't just post it and leave it. You have to 30 minutes, like either side of the post. You want to be engaging with people, so that they're like, oh, who's this? I'll check out their feed, and then that's how you're going to get people following you. So I know that when I started, I just used to post, and I was thinking, why is this not, you know, why is nothing happening? And that's why. So the engagement part is quite important. So if you're scheduling all your posts, or if you're like batching all your posts, but then spending like an hour every time you do post, it's not a massive commitment each week. It just really depends on what you want to do with your account.
I guess you have to think about what time you're scheduling for, though, don't you? So if you're going to schedule, if you look at when your engagement, when people that you want to look at your posts are online, if it's 7:30 in the morning, you've got to remember that if your posts going out at 7:30, you've got to be up at 7 to engage for half an hour prior to that. So that's
something. So that I use later, the scheduling tool, and that will give you a reminder. Like before, so then you're like, oh god, that's right, I've got to do that. Obviously I'm way more organized than that, and I remember exactly when I'm going to post, but
I wouldn't.
No, I'm joking.
So hashtags is the next one. Jenni, I'll just leave up. Jenni, I'm going to leave this with you because again,
that's fine. So the hashtag thing. So when you look at a hashtag, like say, I don't know, Monday motivation, the hashtag Monday motivation, that has millions and millions and millions of posts, of tags on it. Sorry, and again, if you're wanting people to find your posts and to find you through hashtags, then they're just not going to find you. It's your post will just disappear. And equally, if it's less than like 1,000 on it, it means that no one's using them. So the recommendations that I've heard are to use 20 hashtags where the hashtag is under 50k. And the way that you can do that is if you type in I don't know, say like property developer, if you type in property developer and look under tags, and that says 1.3 million or something, what you can then do is you'll see a list of related tags under that. And so if you look at one of those and it's like, I don't know, property development London, and that's only got 35,000, I have no idea, I'm making these numbers up, then that's one of the hashtags that perhaps you would want to either follow and post to, and equally you may want to interact with people that follow those hashtags, because it will tell you who, if any of your followers follow those hashtags. So there is like a bit of research involved to try and find that all out, but you can just make lists of different things, and I think Kelly's got some examples of that. And if you're targeting like a particular hashtag, so say you were targeting property developer and your post was a picture of a tree, Instagram's going to look at the top posts for the hashtag property developer, which are likely to be pictures of, say, houses, and they're going to look at your, and the algorithm's going to look at your picture of a tree and go, hang on a minute, this doesn't match, I'll just ditch your post. That's not going to get anywhere. So I mean, obviously the ideal is to get onto the explore page, and if you're targeting a hashtag and you're doing it correctly, then there could be a chance of doing that. But again, it depends what you're trying to achieve, because I'm not sure I would have the time to do that.
That's such a good tip though, Jenni. I had no idea about the fact that your photo would have to look like the other photos underneath that hashtag. I had no idea.
Yeah, well, these are all the things you know, I didn't know it until like a couple of months ago either.
And then
okay, I'll talk you through this one. So this is on an iPhone. I'll be honest, I don't know if you can do this on an Android, but I'm sure that you probably could. But say you've got like your bank of, say you've got, I don't know, a bank of hashtags that relates specifically to interior design. What you can do in your iPhone under the text replacement part is you can, in the phrase part, just type all those hashtags out and then make a shortcut name. I've just done it as an example here. And then what that means is it's just a shortcut to save you time, really. So when you're using, say, like stories, or you could, I mean, if you're scheduling, you wouldn't need to do this because all your hashtags would be in there. But say you just all of a sudden thought, oh, I'll just put a post up, and you wanted to use one of your hashtag banks, then you can just type in IGHT1 in this example, and then all those hashtags will come up. So Kelly, if you just go to the next slide, I'll show you how this is done. So in that first picture, that's a post that's being shared onto your stories. You can actually like embed text in behind that post, and so that's where you want to put your hashtags in behind there, so that your post is being discovered a bit more. So just create a text box, use the text replacement shortcut that you've got, and then just make the size really, really small. And then all you have to do is then just click on the actual post, and it will just move all the text to the back, and so then all your hashtags are in there, and that they're in behind that post. So it's just another way of like your post being discovered.
Brilliant. And then number of hashtags. So definitely you've got a maximum of 30 hashtags you can use. So use all 30 of them. What Instagram prefers, and I only found this out a few weeks ago, is that it doesn't like it when you use the same hashtags over and over and over again. So what it's good to do is kind of set up 3 or 4 groups of hashtags, maybe under a topic. So I think about the stuff that I'm posting. If I post something that's interiors related, there's not 30 hashtags here, by the way, it's just an example, but if I'm posting something that's interiors focused, then I've got an interior set of hashtags that I'll use. If I'm posting something that's business, I've got a business set. And then if I'm posting something that's entrepreneurial, I hate that word, then I've got a set of those, business mindset, entrepreneur mindset, and all that cheesy stuff. And then I'll just kind of swap them around. So most of my posts will be one of these each week. And so if I'm doing 3 posts a week, then I'm using 3 sets of different hashtags each week. And then you can start to tweak them and add in new ones, take new ones out, but always use that 30 max. And then engagement and the algorithm. And again, I am handing this one straight back to Jenni because she knows way more about this than I do. Oh, she's disappeared.
Sorry, I've been having trouble with my computer, so I've finally got it working. The way the algorithm works, from everything that I've researched, is that it will show your post to a certain number of people, and then if, like, say a few people like it, a couple of people comment on it, then it will show it to more people. And I'm not 100% sure about this, but about the engagement being what's important. I think it is, not necessarily the number of likes, but every time, that's why you see people, they'll do their post and then they'll do a comment with all the tags in it, the hashtags in it, because straight away there's a comment on the post. So the more engagement you get, so if you're always replying to each person that comments on your post, and if you kind of keep it a bit open-ended, interested in what they're doing, and asking them a question, then it means that they'll reply again. So then it will, it'll share the post again, because it basically rewards, it kind of like rewards you for keeping people on Instagram. So if people are commenting on your posts, it means that they're on Instagram. So that's how it works. And I think it is important to remember that it is just a computer. So in terms of being specific with who you want to engage with and what actions you take on that particular profile, it'll learn through what you do, and put those people in front of you who you're engaging with. And then if you want to take conversations further, do it in the direct messaging. And Kelly tried this the other day, but like voice notes, I don't know if you noticed, but like say on the WhatsApp group, the sisters WhatsApp group, the posts that you engaged with more were of the people who sent the videos through, because you had a face, you had a voice, and it was really lovely. And it's the same with voice notes on Instagram. It just straight away you're showing someone that you're not a bot, which sometimes people do add me, and I think you've got no profile picture, you're yeah, are you a bot? I'm not really sure. Whereas if someone voice messaged me, I'm like, okay, it's a person, that's cool. And then it's just, the main thing is consistency. So if one day you're posting 10 posts and then you're not posting for a week, and then you're doing 5 posts and then 20 posts, and it's, at the end of the day, it's a computer, and it's going to be like, what the fuck is this person doing? I don't know. So yeah, just consistency is a big one.
Fab. And then insights on the business account.
So the insights are what I was talking about before. So, you know, content, you can see what's doing well. It'll give you a breakdown. So that's when you go, okay, I'll do a bit more of that. The activity, you compare it. The audience, that's when you can see when you're online. And you can also tell if someone's saved your post as well, and whether they've visited your profile, that kind of thing. So it's just having a look at some of the insights and seeing, you know, what's working and what's not. And sometimes it is disappointing when posts you really like don't do very well.
Gosh, so that's our knowledge that we've
okay, so questions
thrown at you. These are all the questions that were in that were posted in the group. We'll try our best, but we might unmute everyone and get everyone to join in. Gosh, first one. Okay, so
watermarking the photos. I have seen how to do that, and I keep meaning to learn how to do it. So I can find that out, and I can post that if someone wants to know, because I've seen a specific post on that, and it doesn't look very difficult. You do it in Canva.
I don't know about the should you.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not that keen on it. I can understand why you do it. Lee used to do it with some of his photos, and he chose to stop doing it because it actually distracted from the photo, and he wanted people to enjoy the photo rather than see his brand put across it. So I don't know. I'm very much I'm in the corner of not doing it, but I can totally understand why you would want to do it.
Yeah, I think as well, like there's so many, like you say with like Unsplash and Pixabay and stuff, like if people really want a good photo, they'll be able to find it. It's whether if they don't want a watermark, then they'll go and find another one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Branding colours, consistency on your grid, how to put your own colour palette together. That for me is all about Canva. So if you saw that screen where I showed the templates that we've got set up, that's the quickest and easiest way to get your brand into your grid. Just thinking back actually to Andrew and Mary's example that I showed right at the beginning, they've created, so they'll mix up their grid with positive mantras or quotes. And I know that they'll probably have created those in Canva in advance, or had a designer create them for them, and then they kind of mix them up. So it incorporates their brand colours and their messages alongside their imagery as well. So I think that's a really good way of doing it. B-Space again does this brilliantly. So definitely go and follow her. But she'll, again, I'm assuming Canva, but you can definitely create what she's creating in Canva. But she'll bring in elements of her brand and overlay the colours on top of a really beautiful image, and that's just kind of bringing it in. So I think that's the best way to do it.
And there's an app as well called Preview, and like I've just uploaded some. I don't know if you can see that, but it'll show you like what your grid looks like, so you can upload all your pictures without actually posting anything, but it just gives you an idea of what all the pictures would look like and whether the colours are right, that kind of thing.
That's a really nice thing to do if you're a super visual person as well. There's another one, Plannerly, that lets you do that too. I think Lee uses that one for his photography business. Posting an unrelated flashback photo to the caption. Why? I'm not sure I understand the question. Posting
I wasn't
flashback
sure.
photo to the caption. Oh, does this mean that the photo is irrelevant to what they're talking about in the caption? Maybe.
Yeah, so this was my question. So sometimes you'll see on May Green or sometimes random stuff, because they want to keep their feed quite consistent. They'll go, quite a recent one I think was, I'm not feeling that great, but here's a photo of my kitchen. So it was a bit unrelated to what it was actually about, but it was just to try and keep the feed consistent. I didn't know whether or not there was a branding strategy behind doing that, how that relates to the algorithm, or why the caption would be unrelated to the photo.
So I can only assume, but my assumption is they're trying to keep their feed beautiful, because that's what they've decided that their feed is going to look like. So I guess they felt that it would fit in terms of how it looked, rather than how it worked with the message that they were putting out there. I wouldn't personally say it was anything to do with the algorithm. I would say it was to do with how they want their feed to look, and they want it to be controlled in a certain way. I think that's probably why.
There's like some feeds are, some feeds are amazing. Like some people do like jigsaws and stuff like that, but some people have like checkerboard, so it's like one quote, one photo, one quote. But so they might have been just trying to fit something out.
Yeah. Next one, stories versus feeds. How often and why? So we've talked quite a lot about feeds today, and I think like the ideal is once a day, but I mean, let's face it, it's not really super manageable by everybody. So I think, as Jenny said, consistency. So if your consistency is 2 days a week, do it 2 days a week on the same days. But then stories, you can post whatever you want, whatever day you want on stories. I think it's good to do something on stories daily. And I think the difference between the way that we use stories versus the way we use our feed is we're probably a bit more, we put a bit more like rough and ready stuff up on the stories, because it's not going to hang around. You can save stuff to highlights in your feed, at the top of your feed. But, I might post like we're out for a walk with the dogs. I'm not sure everyone gives a shit about my dogs, but, we're out in the sunshine, we're walking them. This is what we're doing today. Or we'll post things like, we'll share things that we've listened to, like podcasts, we'll share up there. So it's just kind of a bit more like behind the scenes things. And I guess when we go to do viewings, we'll be, hey, we're on our viewing day, and we'll be telling people what we're up to and the properties that we're looking at, and like, oh my gosh, look what we found. So yeah, I think that for me is the difference between the feed and the stories. The stories are just a bit more like behind the scenes stuff, and you can probably be a bit more. I mean, I choose to be relatively real on my feed anyway, but I think if you're keeping your feed very kind of constrained, then you can be a bit more relaxed on your stories.
Yeah, I think that your feed is kind of like your shop window, and your stories are like out the back in the stock room or something.
Yeah, sure.
Like, stuff actually happens. So yeah, but also the stories, if your feed is quite professional looking, then your stories can be just that way of building trust, because that's possibly where people will sort of relate to you a bit more, because they're like, oh, I take my dog for a walk too, wonder where she goes. Yeah
Hey, who wants a dog? One of mine's the right pain in the arse, take it. How to change a background colour on a story. So I actually posted a link to my friend Adam, Highline Properties. He did a series of Instagram tips on his feed, and this was one of the tips. It's really easy to do. I can't describe it, but genuinely, you just go onto your stories, you select the pen tool, and then you click the background, and then you can change it to whatever colour you want. I'll make sure I put that back in our WhatsApp group if everyone's missed that. Jenny, this is definitely a question for you. Do you know what? I haven't even looked at my insights yet, because I'm just posting out what I think people look like. I'll worry about what they really want to see later.
yeah. Again, it's just going onto it and just have a look, and just just see. There is a difference though, because you can look at individual posts, and you can look at the main one. So just go and have a look, and I'm not a massive like stats person in terms of, it's not my I don't really enjoy it, but it is what it is, and it does give you some good information, and it makes you go, I wonder why, and just sort of think about stuff.
Yeah. Feed versus stories versus IGTV versus lives. What's the etiquette for each, and what is good to use each thing for? So I think we talked about feed and stories and what we would use those for. IGTV is brilliant. I like, honestly, go and check out Challoner's IGTV feed, because she uses it really well. Like, she shares hints and tips about stuff. She shares her knowledge. She shares like networking tips. And I think it's a really good place for content that you want to hang around a little bit longer, and you can direct people to as well. So definitely, I would definitely say it's for educational stuff. And lives, some of the best lives I've seen have actually been like interviews where you're just talking to somebody and getting to know them, and you can ask them questions. I think that's a really great use of lives. You can actually, I saw this week on Insider Property Investing's Instagram, is that you can now save lives to your IGTV as well. So you can essentially record the live that you're doing. So you could record a series of interviews with people, and then save them in your IGTV. So it's creating really good content. We should all do that with each other. We'd have loads of content. So I don't know if anyone else has got any ideas about what they would use IGTV and lives for. If anyone wants to chip in. No. Okay. Hashtags, when to rotate, which ones will enable a bigger following? I think we've covered the hashtags, this question earlier. Which ones will enable a bigger following? It's definitely not using the ones that have got millions and millions of tags. So you use the ones that are smaller. You've got more chance of your content being seen. And again, it will come down, like Jenni said, it will come down to engaging with people that are using those hashtags as well, more than just posting something out and hoping that people will find it.
Yeah, and just doing your research on them as well, because if you're posting like a picture of a tree on an interior design hashtag, probably the people that follow that are not going to be interested in it. So it's it's just about doing your research, really.
Yeah. And then profile, important to use keywords. I'm not sure about this. So I think it's something that you could trial. Put hashtags in your profile. I don't know. I've tried to keep our profile description kind of a bit down to earth.
If I was to search for property developer in Leicester or something, on the bar on the top, I guess if you've got those words in your profile, then you possibly would come up for sure. So I guess it's just about what do you want to be found for on Instagram. But your name, it's really important. Well, to say like exactly what you do, just so it's really clear.
Cool. We've got a couple of questions in the chat. We've got one question in the chat. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about not letting people in. I just missed that there was people waiting. I'm so sorry about that.
It was only me, Shelley, I think.
Oh, was it? Okay. So how do I get the white frame around the photos? Looks so nice, but I can't work out how to do it.
Sorry, that was me. It's Tabitha. So sorry, I'm on my husband's account, but it's
no worries.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I was like, who's Mark? We've got a rogue man in here. I've not put this out anywhere. Who's the rogue man? What do you mean? I don't know what you mean, Tabitha.
I think on those ones that you were showing, they all had a white border, but that would just be something that you could just drop the photo into Canva with it slightly less. So in Canva, there's an elements section, and what it means is you've got the white border, you've got like the white border, and then slightly underneath that, the element wouldn't start. So if the element was the picture, you just drag and drop it into there, and then you're done. So yeah, the desktop version is definitely more user-friendly than the mobile version, but the mobile one's obviously good for downloading them straight to your phone.
Thank you. I thought it was a setting within Instagram, because my son's Instagram is the same, and I need to ask him maybe. I just thought it was maybe a setting in Instagram so that when you pop a picture in, it just, they all kind of look, because it's so
That's true.
It's it's like it's almost like a setting.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It could be, actually. I've not actually looked into that, but it could be.
I was gonna say that screenshot, was it from a computer or from a phone? Because it looks different on a computer.
Yeah, it's a computer screenshot, because I was pulling it all together, so it might be that.
Yeah.
Actually, thank you.
No worries. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.